Hello, friends. Today I want to talk about one of the strangest combat vehicles of the Second World War. A Sherman tank that had lost its turret, yet remained on the front line. At first glance, it looks like a field improvisation born of desperation. But in reality, this decision was deliberate, calculated, and surprisingly effective. The story begins in the summer of 1944. When Canadian forces were fighting in northwest Europe after the Normandy landings. Despite being part of the Allied coalition, British and Canadian units faced a serious shortage of armored personnel carriers. Although some American M3 half-tracks had been delivered earlier, their numbers were limited, and priority increasingly went to U.S. divisions, who needed them just as urgently. Lieutenant-General Guy Simonds, commander of the 2nd Canadian Corps, approached the problem with cold pragmatism. If armored personnel carriers were lacking, but tanks and self-propelled guns were available in excess, then the solution was obvious. Instead of waiting for supplies that might never arrive, Simonds ordered something radical. Remove the weapons from existing armored vehicles and turn them into protected carriers for infantry. This is how the Kangaroo was born. The name was simple and symbolic. Just as a kangaroo carries its young safely in its pouch, these armored vehicles were meant to carry infantry through fire, shrapnel, and machine gun bursts. The first Kangaroos were converted not from tanks, but from American-built M7 Priest self-propelled guns. Their 105mm howitzers were removed, ammunition racks stripped out, and only machine guns left for self-defense. The conversion was intentionally reversible, allowing the vehicle to be returned to its original role if needed. Soon, the concept proved so successful that it expanded beyond the Priest. Sherman tanks, Churchill tanks, and even obsolete Canadian Ram tanks were stripped of their turrets. Inside the empty fighting compartments, seats were installed, along with handholds and additional machine guns. On paper, a Kangaroo could carry around 10 to 15 soldiers. In reality, infantrymen often packed inside far more tightly, knowing that armor, even uncomfortable armor, was better than advancing on foot. Early combat use revealed practical issues. Climbing in and dismounting under fire was difficult, so crews welded extra handrails onto the hulls. These were crude modifications, but war does not reward elegance. It rewards effectiveness. And effective they were. The Kangaroos first saw large-scale use in August 1944. Reports from the front emphasized their high mobility and survivability. Unlike trucks or half-tracks, these vehicles could advance at the same speed as tanks, following directly in their tracks. Infantry could stay under armor until the very edge of the battlefield, dismounting only when absolutely necessary. The results were immediate. Casualties from machine gun fire and artillery fragments dropped significantly. Infantry units moved faster, coordinated better with armor, and reached their objectives with fewer losses. Veterans later recalled how morale improved simply because soldiers felt protected, no longer forced to cross open ground exposed to enemy fire. Beyond assault operations, Kangaroos proved invaluable for resupply missions, transporting ammunition and equipment under fire, and evacuating wounded soldiers from forward positions. What began as an improvised solution quickly became a tactical innovation. In the end, the turretless Sherman was not a symbol of weakness, but of adaptation. It showed that sometimes victory does not depend on bigger guns or thicker armor, but on understanding what soldiers truly need on the battlefield: protection, mobility, and the chance to survive long enough to fight again. And perhaps that is why these headless tanks earned a place in history.